A ruthless biker strikes an elderly man's dog, unaware it was Donald Trump. The September sun had just begun warming the spotless streets of Palm Beach when Marcus Chen's alarm blared, again, for the third time. His once lavish studio apartment, previously filled with designer furniture and crypto trading gear, now held only a mattress on the floor and a battered laptop. "Just 5 more minutes," he mumbled groggily. But the sharp ping of his trading app jolted him awake. Grabbing his phone with shaky hands, a habit since losing it all, Marcus froze. "No, no, no," he groaned, his eyes glued to the morning's crypto prices. Another dip. Of course. He hurled the phone across the room, watching as it landed on a heap of laundry. The tiny kitchenette was a sad reminder of his old life. An expensive coffee maker he couldn't bear to sell, and imported teacups his mother had lovingly gifted him. "Mom," he whispered, guilt squeezing his chest as he thought of their retirement fund. From the paper-thin walls came his neighbor's voice. "Did you hear about the latest crypto crash? They say it's even worse than before." "Could you shut up? Some people are trying to sleep." Marcus snapped, slamming his fist against the wall. "It's 9 a.m., you jerk," came the reply. Dragging himself to the bathroom, Marcus spotted a wrinkled suit hanging on the door. It had been worn 3 days in a row. The mirror reflected someone he barely recognized, unshaven, with dark circles under his eyes. A far cry from the confident six-figure trader he once was. His phone rang. Dad's cell. The screen read. "Not today," Marcus muttered, declining the call. A voicemail followed almost instantly. "Marcus, son, we need to talk about the investment. The bank is asking about the mortgage. Just call us, please." His hands trembled as he deleted the message. The roar of a motorcycle outside caught his attention. His Kawasaki Ninja, his one remaining trophy from better days, gleamed in the morning sun. He'd sold everything else, but the bike? That was non-negotiable. It was his last taste of freedom. Pulling on a scuffed leather jacket and a cracked visor helmet, Marcus swung his leg over the bike. Still dabbling in the market, his neighbor Chuck jeered as he walked by, coffee in hand. Revving the engine, Marcus drowned out whatever else Chuck had to say. For a fleeting moment, as the bike roared to life, he felt like himself again. The streets of Palm Beach buzzed with activity. Wealthy retirees power-walked in matching outfits, landscapers tended flawless lawns, and security guards patrolled the pristine neighborhoods. Weaving through the crowd, Marcus rode faster. Too fast, maybe. His phone buzzed in his pocket. At a red light, he pulled it out. "Crypto market continues historic downturn," read the headline. "Piece of garbage," he muttered, fumbling to shove the phone back in his pocket. It slipped and clattered to the ground. As Marcus leaned over to grab it, an impatient Tesla driver honked. "Get off the road if you can't handle it, loser," the driver yelled. Face burning with anger, Marcus revved the engine, cutting off the Tesla as he sped through the yellow light. His heart raced, ears ringing, as he neared the Mar-a-Lago area. Security always tight there. A young couple on the sidewalk caught his eye. They were laughing, the woman flashing a shiny engagement ring. 6 months ago, Marcus had been shopping for one himself before Sophie walked out. "I can't be with someone who gambles our future away," she'd said. Lost in thought, Marcus almost missed a sign, reduced speed ahead, security zone. He eased off the throttle, barely. His mind still swirled with bitter memories. Nearby, a street vendor was setting up a coffee cart. The aroma pulled him back to his old ritual. $7 lattes and morning financial news. "Need coffee? You look like you could use it," the vendor called out. Marcus shook his head and accelerated. The road ahead curved, bordered by impeccably groomed hedges. As Marcus leaned into the turn, he spotted an elderly man in a navy suit walking a small white dog. Something about the man's commanding stride and the way others gave him space should have struck Marcus as significant. But Marcus was too lost in his thoughts, consumed by the morning's losses, his parents' voicemail, and the weight of his failures. The small white dog trotted happily along the sidewalk, its leash stretching as it sniffed curiously at something in the grass. For a brief moment, Marcus noticed how expensive the dog's collar looked. Then, without warning, the dog darted into the street. Marcus swerved, his cracked visor slightly blurring his vision. The dog's sudden movement, months of pent-up frustration, and the humiliation of the morning all collided in a single instant of reckless, thoughtless rage. Before Marcus even realized what he was doing, his boot lashed out, connecting with the dog. The small white figure tumbled across the perfectly groomed lawn, and a horrified gasp escaped from the elderly man walking it. Heart pounding for a completely different reason now, Marcus twisted the throttle, speeding away from the scene. In his rearview mirror, he caught a glimpse of dark-suited men emerging from the hedges, but he was already rounding the corner, the roar of his Kawasaki drowning out any shouts behind him. It would take Marcus 20 minutes to realize whose dog he had just kicked, 20 minutes of oblivion before everything in his life would change. But for now, he was just another angry man on a motorcycle, tearing through the palm-lined streets of Palm Beach, trying to escape his problems, and racing headfirst into the biggest one yet. Behind him, Secret Service agents spoke urgently into their wrist microphones. Meanwhile, Donald Trump knelt beside his cherished Maltese, Meatball, his face etched with an anger that would soon shatter Marcus's already fragile world. Marcus's mind felt oddly blank as he flew through the intersections, the sun reflecting off his cracked visor and casting rainbow-like patterns that matched his fractured thoughts. His phone buzzed again in his pocket, probably his parents calling, but he ignored it, unwilling to face reality. Eventually, he pulled into a small strip mall, his usual hideout since he could no longer afford his swanky downtown office. The familiar sight of Lisa's diner brought a fleeting sense of comfort. Inside, the bell chimed as he walked in, and the waitress, Jenny, glanced up. "Your usual corner, Marcus," she called out, already reaching for the coffee pot. Her smile carried a faint trace of pity. She'd watched his slow decline over the past months. "Yeah, thanks," he mumbled, dropping his helmet onto the cracked vinyl booth. "And, just the regular coffee today, not the premium." Jenny nodded knowingly. "Times are tough all around, Hon." The television in the corner was tuned to a financial news channel. Marcus tried to focus on the scrolling stock numbers, but his hands wouldn't stop trembling. Images of the dog tumbling across the lawn kept flashing through his mind, haunting him. Nearby, an elderly couple chatted animatedly. "Did you hear who moved down the street from Margaret?" the woman whispered loudly. "Secret Service everywhere. Must be someone important visiting Mar-a-Lago again." Marcus's coffee cup clattered against its saucer. "You okay there, sugar?" Jenny asked, her brow furrowed with concern. "You're white as a sheet." "I'm fine," Marcus said quickly, his voice shaky. "Just the market, you know." A police cruiser rolled slowly past the diner's window, and Marcus felt his heart hammering in his chest. But the car continued on, not stopping. His phone buzzed again, a text this time from his younger sister Amy. "Marcus, seriously, Mom and Dad are freaking out. Just call them." Marcus began typing back. "I'll fix this, I promise. I just need some time." Suddenly, the television's regular programming cut to breaking news. Marcus froze mid-sentence. "We're receiving reports of an incident near Mar-a-Lago this morning," the anchor announced. "Details are still emerging, but sources indicate it involved a motorcyclist." Marcus shot to his feet so abruptly that he knocked over his coffee cup. Hot liquid spilled across the table as Jenny hurried over with a cloth. "Sugar, what's got you so jumpy today?" she asked, wiping up the mess. But Marcus was already fumbling to throw some cash on the table. Probably too much. His hands shook so badly that he struggled to grab his helmet. "Marcus Chen," a stern voice called from the diner's entrance. Two men in dark suits stood in the doorway, their earpieces and rigid posture making their authority unmistakable. Federal agents. The entire diner fell silent. Jenny stepped back, confusion etched on her face. The elderly couple stopped their conversation mid-sentence, turning to stare. Marcus's mind raced as he assessed his options. The diner's back door was through the kitchen, but to get out, Marcus would need to pass by Big Mike at the grill, who had already stepped away, his face showing concern. "Mr. Chen," one of the agents said, taking a step forward, "we need you to come with us." Marcus instinctively backed up, bumping into the table behind him. "Look, I didn't know. It was an accident. The dog, The mere mention of the word dog caused a ripple of murmurs to spread through the diner. The TV continued droning on in the background. Beloved pet of former President Trump. "Oh my God," Jenny whispered, the realization dawning on her. "Marcus, what did you do?" Time seemed to slow as Marcus dashed toward the kitchen, but Big Mike's massive frame blocked his path. Spinning around, Marcus found the agents had already closed in. "Mr. Chen," the first agent said, his voice calm yet firm, "let's not make this worse than it has to be. The former president has requested a meeting." "A meeting?" Marcus repeated, the words hitting him like a physical blow. "Yes, though I should warn you, he's not particularly happy." Jenny gasped, her hand covering her mouth. The elderly couple stared openly now, and someone in the diner was discreetly filming with their phone. Marcus felt his legs give out, sinking him back into the booth. The weight of the situation hit him like a ton of bricks. He'd kicked a former president's dog, in a secured area, on camera. "My parents," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "They're going to see this on the news, aren't they?" The second agent checked his earpiece. "Sir, we need to move. The press is already gathering at Mar-a-Lago." As the agents guided him toward the exit, Marcus caught his reflection in the diner's window. The angry day trader who had started this morning was gone, replaced by a scared man who had finally hit rock bottom. His Kawasaki sat gleaming in the parking lot, sunlight glinting off its chrome. One agent was already on the phone, likely arranging its transport. "The bike," Marcus started, his voice trailing off. "It'll be taken care of, sir," the first agent assured him. "Right now, we need to get you to Mar-a-Lago. The former president is waiting." Sliding into the back of their black SUV, Marcus felt his phone buzz one last time. A news alert flashed on the screen. Former President Trump's dog Meatball attacked. Suspect in custody. The SUV pulled away, its tinted windows shielding Marcus from the curious stares of the diner patrons who had gathered outside. As they drove toward Mar-a-Lago, Marcus couldn't stop thinking about how differently this day could have gone, if only he had stayed in bed. Jenny watched the SUV disappear, then turned to the elderly couple. "Would you believe he used to leave $100 tips?" The crypto crash hit him hard, but this is something else. The black SUVs moved through Palm Beach with expert precision. Inside the lead vehicle, Special Agent Sarah Martinez spoke into her radio. "Target vehicle identified. Black Kawasaki Ninja heading east on Ocean Boulevard." "Copy that," came the crackling response. "Subject is Marcus Chen, 34. Running background now." In Mar-a-Lago's command center, screens flickered with surveillance footage. Veteran Secret Service agent Tom Reeves watched as his team pieced together a real-time profile. "Pull up everything on Chen," Reeves barked, his forgotten coffee cup growing cold in his hand. "I want to know what he ate for breakfast 3 years ago." At another station, young analyst Jessica Wong called out, "Sir, you're going to want to see this. Chen was a major crypto trader. Lost millions in the crash." And what?" Reeves snapped. "He lost his parents' retirement fund too. They mortgaged their house to invest with him." Reeves rubbed his temples. "Great. So we're dealing with someone who has nothing left to lose." Meanwhile, Marcus pulled into his usual spot at the Daily Grind coffee shop, completely unaware of the storm brewing around him. The barista, Mike, noticed his trembling hands. "Rough morning?" Mike asked, already prepping Marcus's usual order. "You could say that," Marcus muttered, fumbling with his wallet. "Just the regular coffee today, Mike. Need to cut back." Mike nodded. "Coming right up. Hey, you see all these cops flying around? Something big's going down." Just then, Marcus's phone buzzed. The news alert that would change everything lit up his screen. Former President Trump's dog Meatball attacked. Suspect at large. The coffee cup slipped from Marcus's grasp, shattering on the floor as hot liquid splashed across his boots. "Whoa! You okay, man?" Mike hurried around the counter with a mop, but Marcus was already backing toward the door, his face pale. I have to go." Outside, black SUVs were turning onto the street. His motorcycle was blocked in by a delivery truck. "Hey, Chen," a familiar voice called. It was Derek, an old crypto buddy. "Did you see the news? Some idiot kicked Trump's dog. Can you believe?" Derek's words trailed off as he caught sight of Marcus's expression. "Marcus, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." "I have to go," Marcus said again, pushing past him. In the command center, Agent Reeves watched the coffee shop's security feed. "He's spooked. All units move in carefully. We don't want a scene." But Marcus was already slipping into an alley, his heart pounding. His phone buzzed again. "Marcus, are you watching the news? They're saying some lunatic on a motorcycle." "Wait, that wasn't you, was it?" His sister Amy's message went unanswered as Marcus ended the call, his shaking hands barely holding onto the phone. From the alley, he spotted his apartment building 3 blocks away. If he could just get there. The sound of car doors slamming froze him in place. Voices echoed from the street. "Check the alley. Building records show a rear entrance here." Pressed against the wall behind a dumpster, Marcus's mind raced. The fire escape led to the roof, but that would only trap him. His phone buzzed again. "Unknown number. Mr. Chen, this is Special Agent Martinez with the Secret Service. We need to talk. Make this easy on yourself. But every moment you stay out here, Marcus, this situation just keeps getting worse. Let us bring you in. Let's handle this the right way." The crowd around them had grown larger, their voices mixing into a chaotic hum. Marcus caught snippets of their conversations. "That's him. The guy who lost everything in crypto. Isn't that Sophie's ex? The one who gambled away her savings too." Agent Martinez stepped closer, her hands clearly visible, showing she wasn't a threat. "Your parents called us, Marcus," she said gently. "They're worried sick about you. Let's end this before it spirals even further." Marcus glanced around the park, taking in the sea of faces, all with phones pointed at him. The press vans had started arriving at the perimeter, their logos glaring in the sunlight. The circle of federal agents was slowly closing in, leaving Marcus with nowhere to run. His shoulders slumped as he whispered, "I just I was so angry. Everything I touched turned to ash. My parents trusted me, Sophie trusted me, and I took it all out on a dog that didn't deserve it. I know, Martinez replied softly, now standing just feet away. But right now, you have a choice. We can do this the hard way. Cuffs, cameras, and viral videos your parents will see replayed for years. Or you can come with me quietly. We'll figure this out. Behind her, Agent Reeves's voice came through her earpiece. The former president wants an update. Surprisingly, he's calm about all this. Marcus sank back onto the bench, the fight draining out of him. My bike. It's still at the coffee shop, he murmured. We'll take care of it, Martinez assured him. Right now, let's focus on getting you out of here. As the agents escorted Marcus to the waiting SUV, he noticed the cameras being set up by the news crews. His phone had finally stopped buzzing, but he knew the silence wouldn't last. Soon, the whole world would know. In the command center, Agent Reeves watched Marcus enter the vehicle without incident. All units, subject secured. Stand down and prepare for transport to Mar-a-Lago. Jessica looked up from her station, her expression puzzled. Sir, the former president's office just sent over specific instructions. They want Chen brought in through the south entrance. No media, no cameras. Reeves frowned. That's unusual. Normally, he loves a show. As the SUV pulled away, Marcus stared out the tinted window. Palm Beach passed by, looking simultaneously beautiful and hostile. His phone sat silent in his lap, filled with missed calls and unread messages. Agent Martinez, sitting across from him, studied his expression. Want to tell me what really happened this morning? Would you believe me if I said I don't even know? Marcus replied, his voice hollow. One moment I was angry about everything. The next, you were kicking a former president's dog, she finished. In 15 years of service, I've seen a lot, but this is a first. A faint, ghostly smile crossed Marcus's face before disappearing. What's going to happen to me? He asked quietly. Honestly, I don't know. But the former president asked to meet you personally. That's not normal. The SUV turned onto the road leading to Mar-a-Lago. Marcus could see the estate looming in the distance, its grandeur both imposing and surreal. Package is en route, 85 minutes, another agent muttered into his radio. Subject is compliant. Marcus closed his eyes, perhaps bracing himself for what was to come. Martinez's earpiece buzzed with chatter, media crews swarming the main gate, social media exploding, and reports that Marcus's parents had arrived at the local police station. The marble floors of Mar-a-Lago echoed beneath Marcus's footsteps as agents led him through the grand hallways. It felt like a fever dream, going from hiding behind a dumpster to walking through one of America's most famous estates. Wait here, Martinez said, stopping before enormous wooden doors. Her tone softened. And Marcus, try to breathe. Marcus realized he was holding his breath. I think I'm gonna throw up. Please don't, muttered a nearby agent. This carpet costs more than my house. Inside the room, Donald Trump sat in a high-backed leather chair, his small white Maltese, Meatball, curled comfortably in his lap. The dog wore a tiny bandage, but seemed otherwise unfazed. Are you sure you want to do this, sir? Secret Service Director James Murray asked, standing nearby. We can handle this through normal channels. Trump stroked Meatball's head thoughtfully. Do you know what they're calling him online? The Mar-a-Lago motorcycle maniac. Terrible nickname. No punch. I could have given them better. Bring him in. I want to see this guy. Outside, Marcus wiped his sweaty palms on his jeans. Martinez returned, nodding. He's ready for you. Be respectful, be honest. And please, no sudden moves. The massive doors opened, and Marcus's legs felt like jelly. The room was smaller than he'd expected, more intimate, with sunlight streaming through tall windows. Trump looked up from petting Meatball, breaking the silence with a sharp comment. "So, you're the tough guy who kicks little dogs." Marcus opened his mouth, but no words came out. "Sit down before you fall down," Trump said, gesturing to a chair. "You look awful, almost as bad as the crypto market." Marcus sank into the chair, his eyes locked on Meatball, who wagged his tail slightly. "I'm so sorry," Marcus whispered. "I don't know what came over me. I wasn't thinking." "You were angry," Trump interrupted. "I know anger. Believe me, I know it better than anyone. Some say I'm the best at it. But you know what I never did. Kicked a dog." Meatball hopped down from Trump's lap and trotted over to Marcus, sniffing his shoes before sitting by his chair. "Well, look at that," Trump mused. "They say dogs can sense character, or maybe he just smells fear. You do look pretty scared." "Terrified," Marcus admitted. "Good. You should be," Trump said, his tone sharpening. "Not because of me, but because you let anger control you. I know something about that, too. The difference is, I built something with mine. You kicked a dog." Trump walked to the window, his voice softening slightly. "Your parents are at the police station right now. Did you know that? Your father, good man by the way, called me. He's ready to sell their house for your legal fees." Marcus felt like he'd been punched in the gut. "No, they can't. I won't let them." "That's the first smart thing you've said," Trump replied. "So, here's what we're going to do. And he's a better judge of character than most people I know. Aren't you, boy?" Trump said with a small smile as Meatball wagged his tail again. Tears streamed down Marcus's face as he stammered, "I don't deserve this." "Probably not," Trump agreed with a shrug. "But here's the thing about America. Sometimes it's not about what you deserve. It's about what you do with the chances you get." Trump pressed a button on his desk, and within seconds, an aide appeared. "Get the paperwork started," Trump instructed briskly. "Call his parents. Tell them their son is going to be fine. Better than fine." The aide nodded and disappeared, leaving Trump to turn back to Marcus. "You start Monday. Don't be late. And if you ever feel like kicking another dog—" "Never," Marcus blurted quickly. "I swear." "Good," Trump replied, his tone sharp. "Because next time I won't be so understanding. And neither will he." He gestured toward Meatball, now fast asleep by Marcus's feet. Agent Martinez stepped forward. "Sir, we should get Mr. Chen processed and—" "Processed? Look at him." Trump cut her off, waving a hand dismissively. "He's processed enough. Get him a coffee, a new suit, not one of mine, something that fits his style, and fix that motorcycle. Can't have my new crypto expert riding around on a busted bike." As Trump stood, signaling the meeting was over, he added, "Oh, and Marcus, call your parents. Not tomorrow, not later. Now. They need to hear your voice." Marcus rose on unsteady legs, nearly tripping over Meatball. "Thank you, sir. I don't even know what to say." "Say you'll do better," Trump replied firmly. "Say you'll make it right. And maybe, just maybe, learn to love dogs." As agents escorted Marcus out, Trump called after him, "And get a better helmet. That crack in your visor? Awful. We've got the best helmets. I'll send you one." The doors closed behind Marcus, leaving Trump alone with Director Murray and Meatball, who had returned to Trump's side. "Sir," Murray began cautiously, "are you sure about this?" Trump scratched Meatball's ears thoughtfully. "You know what people love more than a villain, James? A redemption story. Look at him. He's broken. Sometimes you have to break all the way down before you can build back up. I know something about that." Outside the room, Marcus stood in the hallway, his trembling hands clutching his phone. Slowly, he dialed his parents' number and pressed the phone to his ear. "Mom." His voice cracked. "Mom, it's me. I'm okay. Everything's going to be okay." The morning sun poured through Mar-a-Lago's windows, casting long shadows across the marble floors. In his leather chair, Trump leaned back with a satisfied smile as Meatball dozed peacefully in his lap. Sometimes, Trump mused aloud, the worst moments lead to the best opportunities. He had learned that lesson many times himself. Meanwhile, in the hallway, Marcus Chen, former crypto millionaire, disgraced dog kicker, and now the newest employee of Trump Media and Technology Group, began the slow, painful process of rebuilding his life, one apology at a time.